think when you look at what are still the things holding women back, particularly in paid work, and it's interesting because I've been travelling to every state and territory, regional areas over the last 4 months because I'm heading a national inquiry into pregnancy and return to work discrimination. And, you know, when I travel around, I hear from women maybe in regional areas, and maybe they're in some of the areas that you work them yourselves, that young women are telling me, we see an ad in the local regional newspaper, we're interested in the job, we pick up the phone, we ring the number, and one of the first questions we're asked is, are you a woman of childbearing age? Now this is in 2013, 2014. In terms of shifting this, and from what Catherine said, some of the male champion organisations are really starting to take the lead on this because we need some seismic shifts. Just tinkering around the edges, and as Lance said, doing the same thing we've always done and expecting a different result is not going to deliver what we want. So Telstra, for example, have decided that they're going to shift the starting point of work. And in fact, we know, based on good research out of the University of Sydney here in Australia, that in Australia, the ideal worker is someone who's available 24/7, no visible caring responsibilities, and as a result of that, preferably male. That's what the ideal worker looks like. And what Telstra said, okay, to shift away from that, we're going to declare that every role in this organisation is now available in a flexible work arrangement. We will advertise every role as being available in a flexible work arrangement. And we're doing that to shift the conversation, to change the starting point about work. It's an understanding that if we are to really attract the best talent in this country, then jobs need to come in all shapes and sizes for both men and women. Because if you're going to shift attitudes around flexible work, what you need is men working in flexible work arrangements. No amount of women with young children is ever going to shift company culture on that issue. Flexible work delivers loyalty like no amount of money ever will. And I think flexibility is absolutely the key. Mainstreaming flexibility is the key to retention of good people, whether you're looking in the army, and the army's doing some fantastic work around flexible work, or whether you're looking at an organisation like Aurizon, or indeed the bank or the parliament or whatever.
Yeah, so it's making it the norm rather than the exception,
yeah.
Isn't it? Now,
and the army has set strong targets around the number of flexible work arrangements, as has the Navy and Air Force. I mean, you know, banks and people say, oh, look, it's so difficult because we're doing very difficult work. Well, I'm sorry, if a Navy can do it or the Army, so can you. We need to understand the case for change at 3 levels. One is in the organisational level, and they're the issues that Lance outlines. That is, there's no question that organisations which are diverse, and particularly which are more gender diverse at the senior levels, perform better. There's hundreds of studies that will show you that. And that's true for a variety of reasons. There's a diversity of thinking, women have a different lived experience to men, they bring that to the table, etc., etc. But over time, they perform better. So you don't even have to understand the human rights case. If you're a shareholder, you care about returns, then you want an organisation that's gender diverse. So that's at an organisational level. If we extrapolate it up to a national level, and I have a national role here, my interest in seeing increasing levels of women in paid work and rising to the top of companies is because we're about building a strong economy. We know strong economies are in countries where there's both men and women working and part of a labour market, but also where we have shared models of leadership between men and women. Countries that don't harness the talents of all their citizens will start to fall behind. And that's the challenge for us in Australia. If you don't get any of that, the reason we need to move ahead with this is because gender equality is our birthright, so why would we accept less? It took me a couple of years, I'm a bit of a slow learner, to realise that actually women supporting other women and being in heated agreement about this and continuing to advocate would only get us so far. It's probably women's advocacy, the first and second wave feminists have actually got us to where we are today. And you know what? For that, I am so very grateful. The fact that I can be a senior commissioner with young children, that couldn't have happened even a generation ago. So there's so much to be thankful for. And women's advocacy, women getting together like this is just so very, very important. But I think what the next stage is really about is actually men stepping up beside women, and as Lance says, owning this as a leadership issue. Because what I started to understand when I really looked into the research is that what will shift the picture, not just in Australia but globally, is powerful, decent men taking the message of gender equality to other men. That's what's going to shift this picture.